Good morning, everybody. My name is John Lipscomb, and I'm a senior trainer for the Stellar MLS. And welcome to Stellar MLS Live. And we haven't had one of these in a little bit. And what we wanted to do, I don't need these anymore, is we wanted to get everybody up to speed with what we're doing for the COVID-19. We have a landing page. We want to keep you safe. We want you to still be able to do business, and we're going to talk about some guidelines and a couple changes for virtual tours, and we have a brand new virtual open house option. We're going to talk about all that. I got half an hour. It's going to be a lot of information here. Remember, this recording, this training here is going to be backed up on Facebook. So if you want to go back and watch it again, or maybe you're not watching it live, sorry, you missed out. You can always go back in and see it again. So I got all kinds of stuff. I got like a N95 mask, and I've got some disinfectant spray. I got all kinds of stuff. So just like the things that you're doing at home to keep yourself safe, social distancing and all of that, you have some options in the MLS to also keep you safe as well. Now, don't worry about memorizing every little detail about what we're going to talk about here in the next half an hour. If you have questions, please go into the commenting section here. And we have a bunch of trainers, a bunch of MLS staff actually on this right now. They're hanging out in the comments, and if you ask a question, they'll be able to answer it. And what I'll do towards the end is I'll circle back around with the other trainers to make sure that we get everything addressed here, okay? All right, so you have like a one-stop shop set of information that you can get to. That's going to be your COVID-19 landing page. Now, hopefully you've had the opportunity to take a moment and go to the COVID page to see all of the stuff you need to know. It's got all kinds of resources. It's like everything you ever need to know as far as what the MLS is doing, for the Realtors, NAR, and a bunch of other resources as well. And we're going to take a look at that here in a second. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over to this webinar screen here. Let me cue this up here. It's not really a webinar, it's a Facebook Live. And you're probably going to see me flash over for a moment. Let's go ahead and do that. Hold on one second. Wow. Just want to make sure you guys don't see too much of me. All right, here we go. Okay, so you should be seeing the stellarmls.com website. So if you just go to stellarmls.com, the home site here, the site that you go in and you log in and everything, and you're going to see right here there is a COVID-19 link, and there are a couple things I want you to keep an eye on, and this is going to be one of them, the COVID-19 page, and we're going to keep updating this as things change, and we have all kinds of information there. And I also want you to keep I also want you to keep an eye on the message of the day in Matrix. So let's take a look at the COVID-19 page first, because everything I'm going to talk about is on this page basically here. So I'm going to go ahead and go there. COVID-19, or if you just go to stellarmls.com/CV19, you'll be able to see this page right here. And let me just make sure that that's popping up. All right, good, perfect. And you're going to see this page, take a moment out of your day, go through this. We've got some stats here. These are going to be imported from Smart Charts. So these are going to kind of update as things progress over the next little bit. Down below, very important. This is mainly what we're here to focus on today. This is going to be the virtual options and open house for open houses and showings. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on today, but there's all kinds of other information here. So we're going to come back to this in a moment, and I'm going to kind of toggle back and forth between this right here, and I'll show you some live stuff in Matrix for putting in like virtual open houses, and we'll just kind of come back and forth here. But I want you to think of this, everything we're going to talk about today, this is kind of like the hub. All right, so this is one thing I want you to keep an eye on. Another thing is going to be in Matrix. So you'll probably noticed every once in a while when you log into Matrix that there is a little pop-up window that comes in, and that's going to be your message of the day. Well, this is in addition to what you have on the COVID-19 page. You're also going to see some information here right from the message of the day here. So let me give you a couple like little tidbits here, things that you would want to see here. So one of the rule changes is going to be the extended timeline for purging incomplete listings. Now, normally you have 30 days, right? So that's going to change a little bit. If you, anytime you go in and save it, so if you go back into the listing and save it again, that's going to give you another 30 days. So if you have properties that you're working on, maybe as this whole thing was hitting, you have the ability to go in and get another 30 days. You just have to go back into the incomplete listing and save it again, and that's going to perpetually give you another 30 days. Just get in there once every little bit and do that. So like do that like once every 2 weeks or something like that, and that way you'll always have that 30 days out in the window if maybe you're waiting on something or waiting to see what happens with all of this. Okay, so we recognize this time of uncertainty and caution. You may be leaving some of your listings in an incomplete status for longer than usual. Going forward, if you modify an incomplete listing anytime during 30 days of your original entry date, your 30-day window to activate will restart. Okay, so if you have any questions, we have our support here. Hopefully you have our support number in your phone, because you can always get help if you need to. You can print a copy of this out right here. So keep an eye on the message of the day matrix as well. You'll also see something I'm going to talk about a little bit later, which is going to be the Remind system is going to have a new feature, and they're actually doing a webinar next week to talk about how they're going to offer a streaming option as well, because one of the really cool things that you can do now with the virtual open houses. I get my tongue tied when I talk about virtual stuff. Virtual open houses is you can actually put a link in there and you can stream out to like a Facebook. You could do a live showing. You could do this on Twitter. You can do all kinds of stuff. So we'll get into that a little bit later. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. All right, so let's go back to the COVID-19 page here. So I'm going to, like I said, toggle back and forth a little bit. We'll just kind of give an overview here. Here's the Stellar MLS stuff that you need to know. We have all kinds of webinars still going on. So we have we're still training Monday through Thursday. So if you want, you can still learn MLS stuff. We're still here. We miss you. Okay, so you could take webinars online. We got all kinds of stuff. We'll take a look at that later. Here's the Facebook Live that we're doing. We'll probably do more of these, because I just love hanging out with you. I've been cooped up in my house for, like a month now. We have webinars that we're doing. If you can't take them live, we're taking them and putting them up in our recorded webinars. And then we get into the actual details here of the COVID-19, okay? So a couple rule things that we need to be aware of. So you can remember, don't worry about the details here. You can always see this again if you want to. Sellers who want to remain in active status. So you got a listing, it's active, they want to remain active. Well, there needs to be some sort of virtual tour with that listing, right? You have to be able to show that off so people can see the information. Now, what's really neat about that is if you put in a listing through Property Panorama, if you have at least 5 images, you can get an automatic virtual tour so your listing can remain in active status here, okay? Days on market are going to continue to accrue. Nothing's changing with days on market. We know I had a bunch of questions about that, but we need that data. That data, we need to know that when we look at this a month from now, or 2 months from now, or whatever, we need to look back and see how the market was affected by this. So nothing's going to change with days on market. That's very important. Appraisers are going to need that data and all kinds of stuff. So that's not going to change. Listing distribution is not going to change here. A lot of our recommendations were made based on NAR and Florida Realtors, so we'll come back around with that. If a seller does not want their listing, if they don't want to have showings right now, they can put their listing in, you can put the listing in temporary off the market status. The days on market will pause at that point. Listing distribution will stop. Okay, so you have all kinds of details here. I know I'm kind of glossing over it, probably because I'm nervous. But when you're in here, you can see the exact details, everything you need to know right here. Then down below, we have an entire section here dedicated from all the updates from Puerto Realtors. So you can go in and see that. Governor issues stay-at-home order, so that's kind of where we're all at right now. The latest from NAR, how this is being affected nationwide here, so you can go ahead and look at that information. So instead of having to track down all of these individual resources, this is like a one-stop shop for everything you need to know as far as the COVID-19, how it's affecting this our stellar MLS here. Vendor resources, you got all kinds of stuff. And then we're going to be updating an FAQ based on some of the inquiries or questions that you guys have maybe in the chat here. So if you guys have concerns or things, put them in the commenting here, and if we'll get you an answer. If we don't get you an answer right away, check back here on the frequently asked questions, and you may see that that was addressed here, because sometimes we don't know what to answer until you ask us. Okay, so please put that in there. All right, so let's break this down into a couple different sections here. Let's talk about virtual tours first. All right, so I have Matrix pulled up here, and when you go into your listing, I'm just going to open up a listing that we have, just so you guys can take a look at it, just real quick. And when I go in and I edit a listing, so let's take a look at the virtual tour section here. So here, right towards the end, on the Realtor step right here, you're going to see a section here where it says marketing links and information. Now, you'll see where it says create free automatic virtual tour. So that's just something you could toggle on. As long as you have at least 5 images on your listing, it will populate a property panorama virtual tour for the first 5 images. Now that could take up to 24 hours or so, but that will then satisfy that requirement to keep that listing active here. So keep that in mind. Now let's say that you don't want to have the basic virtual tour. You want something that has a little bit more to it. Well, you have several different MLS virtual tour options, and you might be using these already, or maybe you're not, but let's take a look at them. So right on your dashboard here, when you log in, you should see this every single time. Now, my screen might look a little different from yours. Don't worry about that. But when you go in here, you'll see that you have links out to Property Panorama, and you have a link out to RealBiz Media. Now, we are partnered with those 2 virtual tour companies, and it's pretty inexpensive. You can get a virtual tour, a fully featured virtual tour, where you can edit and add up to a bunch of images. Remember, you can have up to 100 images on your listing now, so take advantage of those, because you know that might be the only way that people can see this information. So you can go into either Property Panorama here, or you click on it, talks about getting started here, how to get going on. You know, some of these are, you either pay a flat fee per virtual tour per month, or you could pay a like $2 virtual tour per month, or you could pay a flat fee and get unlimited virtual tours for all of your listings if you wanted to here. Now, Property Panorama, and the other one here that you have on your dashboard, which is called RealBiz Media here, or RealBiz 360, click on both of these. You can do a little bit of compare and contrast. I like to call something like this a Coke and a Pepsi. They're 2 different things that want to get you the same thing in here. So maybe take a look at both of these, see which one you like better, and then you can generate your virtual tour. And you can put this in the link in Matrix here, virtual tour right there, if you want to. Now, there are some guidelines for virtual tours. So I need to switch over to this screen right here. Okay, all right, so you can see me, hello. We're going to take a look at just a reminder about virtual tours when you're going to be putting these on your listings. Something that is new is you can take that unbranded virtual tour link and you can put that in your public remarks or your realtor remarks if you want to. Now, keep in mind that link will be active when properties are sent out from like Matrix, if you send them out to your customers, that kind of thing. If buyer agents look at it, most third parties, you know, like your Zillow and that kind of thing, they usually scrub these out. So they have a thing built into their websites where they actually remove the links. But for the purposes of getting these out from Matrix, that is now allowed, and that's actually a new thing. Now, just like I said earlier, only unbranded virtual tours are allowed in the MLS. That has not changed. Okay? No contact information, no signs in the front yard. You can't have your contact information on your virtual tours. Now be careful with this, because whenever you generate a virtual tour, there's usually, they give you two different versions. One's the unbranded version, or they may call that MLS safe or compliant, and the other one's going to be branded for you and have your picture and all your contact info and all that stuff on it. Just make sure for virtual tour purposes that you are only using the unbranded version. Okay? Only virtual tools can be placed in the virtual tour links. You can use pre-recorded videos from, let's say, like YouTube, but it has to be something that can be embedded. So no links out to like a channel or anything like that, no branding on it, if you wanted to do like a little pre-recorded walkthrough. Okay? So if you guys have any comments on the virtual tours, if you have any questions, most of it's not changing. So virtual tours aren't changing. They're same rules as we always had, except the new option to put the virtual tour link in the public or realtor remarks if you want to. Okay. So that's not changing, but I wanted to do a quick review on that and let you know that, remember, you have access to Property Panorama and RealBiz if you wanted to use either of these. And I'm sure there are a million other solutions out there. These are the ones that we have direct connections to if you wanted to take advantage of those. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the next part of this, which is going to be something that is new, which is going to be the virtual open houses. Now, Stellar MLS, let me go ahead and read this statement here. We are not saying you cannot have showings or open houses. Okay, there's no current prohibition on property showings. We're relying on, we want you to rely on local restrictions, recommendations, social distancing, and gatherings of any size. So we want you to lean on those rules. We're not saying that you can't have this, but in the interest of safety, based on the Florida Surgeon General recommendation and Florida Realtors, we are not allowing you to put in traditional live open houses right now. Temporarily, until we know what's going to happen, right? So you will see a new option when you go to put in a open house on a listing. That's going to be a virtual open house. So we want you to stay safe, keep your community safe by exercising the utmost caution, and check with your broker about any internal best practices he or she may have put in place. So always refer back to, your broker, Florida Realtors, NAR, Florida Surgeon General, all that stuff here. Okay, so let's talk about this brand new option that you have, and I have a couple really neat suggestions for you if maybe you've never done a virtual open house before. Okay, all right, so I'm going to toggle back over here into Matrix. So we're going to switch back here. All right. And let's take a look at this. So when you have a listing in Matrix, I'm going to back out of this one here. Back out. Okay, so now what you're going to see is the virtual open house option here. This was formerly just called open house. So the changes that you're going to see here are going to be when you click on it, virtual open house, you'll see that the open house is going to be the only option that you can pick. Now, this could be a streaming service. So there are many different options that you can have. So what you're going to need here is the date, the time, the end time, and the open house live stream here. So you would put in the link for this. Now, where are you going to get the link? We'll talk about that in a second. Depends on what you use. And then do you want to turn this on so other agents and other buyers can see this when they look at the property information through the MLS here? Okay. So no branded anything in the open house remarks. Remember that. That's, this information is going out public. Now, we understand that, if you are going to be doing a virtual open house, some branding may happen. It's inevitable because you're doing it live. But we have guidelines for that you're going to see on the COVID page. So make sure you go in. We'll circle back on that in a moment so you guys can see that. Now, we've gotten some questions about, well, what's the difference between a virtual tour and a virtual open house? Well, a virtual tour would be something that's more static, that's available 24/7. Somebody could go in and see like an animated set of images right in the MLS through Property Panorama or Realtors 360 or one of those things. That thing lives there all the time. A virtual open house is a dedicated time and place where you may be at a location doing a stream on your phone and interacting with the viewers and saying, they may ask you to go and look at another room or something like that, and you can they can comment, you can talk to them, you can respond to them. That's the main difference there. So think of it like a static virtual tour versus a more dynamic, interactive virtual open house. Or if you just want to think about the former open house, you now can do that virtually. Okay. All right. Now, what I really like about this, because I love technology, I think this is really neat because it's obviously we're all really concerned with what's going on, but I really think this is going to open up a lot of doors and kind of make you learn how to do a couple of these things. And this is going to benefit you in the future because now, even after this is all over, you're going to know how to do all these virtual options to show off of properties to people that maybe aren't physically there. And that's going to give some more exposure to your sellers. Okay. All right, so in response to industry precautions, traditional open houses, temporarily disabled, just making sure I hit all the things here. And let's talk about some options here. Okay, I only got like 9 minutes left. So a couple options that you might want to take advantage of. And these are things that I looked up for you. Okay, so we talked about virtual. I just demoed this. I just showed it. Things that you can do that are super easy. And these are probably the 3 easiest ones that I've come across. Facebook Live. You've got this right on your phone. Now, you might wonder, well, where do I get my link? Well, if you go into your account settings or your options in Facebook, if you do it from your personal Facebook, it'll be facebook.com/your name or whatever. You'll see it in there. If you're doing this from like a company page, it'll be facebook.com/your company or whatever it is. You'll need to see that in the options there, but that's something you can do super easy. Now, advantages for Facebook Live is, once again, the interaction. You go live on Facebook and everybody can see it. Just like you saw that we were live on Facebook, you got a notification. Everybody that follows you on Facebook, all your followers on either your company page or all your friends on your personal page are going to get notified that you are live, and it has a dedicated link. Okay, because you got to be able to put that link in there ahead of time. Same thing on Twitter. I went and I played on Twitter. Twitter also has a dedicated link. So if you haven't done so, go make a Twitter account. It'll be your @whatever, and then you can put that link in there. And then remember, that's why we have that time on there and date, because if somebody's on that link at that date, at that time, they're going to be able to see that you are live. And then Instagram has the same thing as well, whatever you're more comfortable with. I know some of you, I've met a ton of you. I love all of you, but some of you guys are like all about Instagram, your stories and all that stuff. Or, use whatever feels good, whatever's easiest for you. A lot of these things are very comparable to each other. You'll just want to make sure you use whatever is comfortable to you. I like these because there's interaction. Now, you've probably seen a lot of things going on about Zoom, very popular. We actually used a Zoom for this morning, our team meeting. You can go and sign up for accounts here. Now, you're going to want to read the fine print here. Some of these have free versions and paid versions and all this stuff. So I'm not going to focus on these. I just kind of wanted to let you know that there are other things available. I like the easy stuff, but whatever works for you. Now, in addition to this, something that is new is going to be in Remind. Now, we did a ton of training over the last year since we've launched Remind here. Remind is pretty cool. We've been doing webinars for Remind. It's a search engine for public records data, MLS data, all kinds of stuff. One of the things that Remind is doing is trying to react to this whole thing, the need to be able to show off these properties. Remind is doing a new feature called their Live Open House. Now, I'm going to show you a quick screenshot here just so you guys can see it, because I don't have a way to demo this, because the way it works currently is only listing agents can host a Remind Live for their listing. Or if you have these links, you can also put links to other streaming services. If you're going to be doing like a streaming, you can also put that in Remine as well. So they have an internal option and they have a way to link out to an external option as well. So here's what it's going to look like, and I know it's kind of blurry just because I had a smaller screenshot. I had to make it a little bit bigger here. But whenever you're looking at an individual property, if it's your listing, just to be clear, if it's your listing, you can create a live open house. You can use the toggle on here to turn on the Remine version of this, and it'll have a dedicated link. Keep in mind, if people are going to see this open house, they have to have a Remine account. So all of your contacts, all the people you've engaged with in Remine, they could see this information here. Or you can link out to any other open house link that you're going to be doing, very similar to what you're going to be doing in Matrix as well. So I want you, if you're interested, they're doing a webinar next week. We actually just took their webinar link and we put it in our class sign up here. So as I start to kind of wrap this up here, I want to show you where you can get more information about this new feature if it's something you want to take advantage of. This is going to be just another option that you're going to want to see the pros and the cons, and you're going to want to see if this is something that might work for you. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the class sign up here, and this is what I'm going to I'm going to check. I'm going to check my Teams. So if somebody wants to send me a message on the Teams platform, let me know how we're doing and if I need to revisit everything. Okay, it's 10:59. I cannot believe I did that. I was so nervous about this. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Jane. Now I'm actually able to look at the chat again, so that's good. Very cool. So yeah, keep an eye on that COVID page. I'm going to bring it up one more time just so you guys can see it. So just remember right here on stellarmls.com, COVID-19. One thing I would like you guys all to look at under the COVID-19 page is make sure you go in and open up this one right here where it says Guide to the MLS Virtual Options and Open House here. I did a very quick overview of this, but if you click on Read More, it's a PDF. And you can actually download this as a guide, and it's really good. It's got everything you need in here. Virtual options, and look at these beautiful graphics here. So it'll go over what's not allowed, now what you can do instead, and talks about open house rules, showing rules, and all that, and then kind of gives you some abbreviated version of this at the very, very bottom there. Cool. All right. Well, I think that we're good. I think that we're good, everybody. So from a personal note, I miss training you. I know all the other trainers miss that. We miss being out in the field training you guys. We're staying home. We're staying safe. I know that I know everything's difficult right now, and there's a lot of uncertainty, but we want to give you options and things that can help you in your business. So that's going to be it. So if you're watching this live, thank you guys for taking some time out of your day. I know it was a lot of information, but hopefully we'll be able to see you guys soon enough. Keep an eye out for future Facebook Lives. We got all kinds of stuff that we want to plan. And please take advantage of those webinars because we have all kinds of information. And I like these things because it actually gives me the ability to interact with you. So we definitely miss that. So I'm going to check on my chat one more time, but I think that we're good. And we're going to go ahead and start... wrapping this up here. How to post a virtual tour without using paid platforms. Remember, you can always use the very basic virtual tour. It's like $2 a month, so that's pretty inexpensive. The only other way I can think of is maybe using something like a video on like YouTube and making sure that you're linking out to an embedded link. I know that doesn't cost anything if you wanted to go that way. All right, so we got a couple questions here. They're going to start answering them. We're going to still comment on this, but as far as the presentation goes, thank you guys for your time. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, but we are still going to be responding to your comments as well. So until next time, stay stellar. Bye-bye.